Hi there. Welcome to episode 8 of Health Horizons, where we explore public wellness. Once again, my name's Kara Showers, and I work at the Melrose Health and Human Services Department. I'm the Prevention and Wellness Coordinator, and I still can't believe this every time I say it. Almost 20 years ago, I got my master's degree in public health at BU, and I am also a certified health education specialist. So excited to chat today with, drum roll please. Actually, we probably shouldn't drum roll. Sarah Murray from SDM is here. Thanks for joining us.
I'm very happy to be here, Kara.
So I've been lucky enough to work with you in the past. And one of the things we started working on together was when we had some Mass in Motion funding from the state years ago, and we wanted to develop a web page for folks around eating better and moving more. SDM and Sarah helped me with that. And then a little later on, we created the first email newsletter blast from Health and Human Services, and you helped me set that up too. And most recently, I worked with Rachel with the Council on Aging and myself, and we were able to train quite a few SDM staff on Dementia Friends, which is an informational session that helps raise awareness on how everyone can best support folks living with dementia in our community.
Yes, we've worked on some really good projects together, particularly enjoyed the Dementia Friends training, which I think was very useful for SDM as a company to get our staff trained in that.
For sure. So I'm really looking forward to our discussion today because we are going to focus on how we all as caregivers can help our kiddos manage their technology use. But before we get into that, I want to just talk about what SDM is, because I'm sure there's a few listeners out there who may not know.
Of course. Well, SDM Foundation, the foundation was created by Stuart Donald McIntosh, that's the SDM, in 2015 as a bequest when he died. He wanted to be able to help people use technology to make their lives richer. He realized that there were so many advantages of using technology, but that it was very difficult for people who weren't already in the know to get access to technology. So our executive director, Kristen, set up the shop, and our mission is to teach people how to use technology to enrich their lives, to give them that connection and that access that they may not get otherwise. So that includes helping people with educational objectives, career objectives, reducing feelings of isolation, promoting creativity, self-confidence, connection. We also teach nonprofits and small business owners how to use technology in their work lives. So things like teaching them how to develop and maintain websites, to leverage their online presence in their social media. We do this primarily by holding individual appointments with people, either in person or remotely, and we focus on what they want to learn and on where they're starting from. So we never presume knowledge, we start where people are. Everything we do is free, and one of our main goals is to continue to do that for as long as we can. And next year, we actually celebrate our 10th anniversary.
Wow, has it been 10 years?
It has been 10 years. Yep, 10 years next July.
10 years of amazing free service in this community. It's just a fantastic resource right here. Love it. So one other question before we delve into the topic of technology and kiddos. What is SDM currently working on?
Okay, so in addition to our individual appointments, we do some group lessons and some discussion opportunities for people to come together and talk about various tech-related topics. We have a small business and nonprofit group that meets on the third Thursday of each month from 10 to 11. These are open discussions, round tables with me. Sometimes I give a presentation. The last one of those I did was on all the recent changes to Instagram. Otherwise, we just have a very interesting chat about where everyone is at that moment, what's working for them in their online presence, what tech pain they have, is there any way that we can help? And we've got a good group of people there that work well together and enjoy feeding off each other and getting ideas in those sessions. We also hold what we call shop talks on the first Thursday of the month. Most recently, we did one on cutting the cord and whether or not it's worthwhile getting rid of cable and having streaming services instead. So we took a look at that. Coming up, we have one on notifications. What are they and why do they keep popping up on your device, and how to stop them if you want to. And then the session after that is going to be on passwords. So one of the things that we get asked loads of questions about is passwords, how to remember passwords, how to create strong passwords, how to manage your passwords. So we're having a session on that in December. And we also hold drop-in hours at the Milano Centre. We do that on the first and third Monday of the month. We actually go to the Milano Centre from 1 to 2:30, and that's open to anybody aged 60 plus. It's best for quick questions because we often have a queue. People are standing in line waiting to see us. But it's a great opportunity to just drop in and ask a question, particularly if you're already at the Milano Centre for something else. And other than that, we just try to stay as active as we can in the community, attend events, do things when we're asked to go and present, so that as many people as possible know who we are and what we do.
Yes. Oh my gosh, what a list of things you've been currently working on. It's really good. We are at the Milano Center, the health department, twice a month. I pop over there with our nurse, Melissa, who does blood pressure clinics, and I kind of bring different health resources, you know, info on cancer screenings or dementia or, you know, different things that actually the folks who come to the blood pressure clinics have asked about. So, but it's funny because I've also, I can see that you guys would have a line for your questions with the older adults, because I also sometimes there get asked, like, can you help me with, you know, why does this look like this? My camera is not appearing, or just like, you know, and I have to tell them I am not very tech savvy. You have to talk to SDM, but some of the little questions I can answer. But that's awesome. I didn't know like the breadth and the depth of what you guys do out in the community and right at your Main Street location. So something for everyone, it seems. So without further ado, today we want to delve into how we as caregivers can help our tweens, teens manage their technology use. What a topic. I was just kind of talking to you offline where I have two teen boys, and you know, tech is something that can be positive for our and their health, but it can definitely also be negative and impact their health negatively. So I know it's on parents' minds, grandparents' minds, caregivers' minds. So love to pass the baton to you to open this up.
Yes. Well, Cara, it's a huge question, and I have 3 teenagers, so I am in the thick of it myself, and I know that it's something that many parents struggle with. There also isn't a single answer, which isn't helpful, I know, but it's true, because it depends on the devices you have, the apps that you use, that your kids use, and your own family's comfort with and attitude towards technology is going to impact the choices that you make. There are no right or wrong answers here. And I mean, I can't cover all the details today, but I can try and give you some highlights of the things that are available and the things to think about.
Yes, we'll take the highlights.
Yeah. So parental controls basically allow us to designate child devices and accounts for children under 13. Here in the US, it's 13. That age varies by country, but here it's 13. But we know kids are smarter than us when it comes to technology, and they are great at finding workarounds when it comes to tech. And once they're 13, kids can legally opt out of controls. So that's just something to be aware of.
Wow, legally, huh?
Yeah. So while parental controls are useful, the most important thing really is conversation, setting boundaries and creating a family tech plan. that works for you as a family and with your comfort with technology and how much control you want to have. As you say, I completely agree that there are both positives and negatives to technology, and I don't want to ever demonize technology and say you must control all these things, because there are so many positive things that kids can get out of the technology that they use. It's just understanding that a bit better and knowing what you can and can't do to help them learn how to use technology responsibly. So some of the key things that you can monitor and control, you can look at like total screen time. You can look at the amount of time on specific apps if you want to control, say, YouTube or social media apps. Access to specific apps and to purchases. Obviously, when they're younger, you want to have purchasing turned off.
Yes.
And you can also, with some things, monitor and alert on content in specific apps, but that's much harder to do, and there aren't many options for doing that. But I can take you through a few more specifics there.
Okay,
so we'll
great.
start with Apple, because so many of us have iPhones, have Apple devices. They have a fairly robust set of parental controls. But again, I would say nothing is 100%. So anything that you set, there is going to be a way to get around it, whether they go and use a device at their friend's home or they have a second device that got reset at some point, but they can still access the internet on it. There's so many things. So, nothing I'm saying here is going to 100% fix your problems. But with Apple, their parental controls are fairly well developed at this point. You need to have a family organizer, which is one of the adults in the household, and they can then set up controls for any child accounts that are part of the family group. This includes things like content and privacy restrictions, contact restrictions, who they can text and call, screen time limits, app limits, and downtime. So using the downtime features to actually create times when they have to go screen-free because they can't use certain functions, whether that's in the evenings or whatever. The built-in controls are fairly flexible, and you can get fairly specific about what kids can and can't access. And they've also recently, which I think is really good, they've added some additional controls and new restrictions for 13 to 17-year-olds, which helps with that. Once they're 13, they can kind of opt out.
Right.
You can choose to, in that age bracket, change some of the age ratings and the way that you set up the parental controls for that age group. And the App Store now has new categorizations for age. So rather than it just being, under 12 and over 12,
right,
it's 13 plus, 16 plus, and 18 plus. So that, again, helps you decide whether you allow kids to have access to particular apps if they ask you to have them, because you can set it so that they have to ask you before they can download anything.
Right, that's nice.
There are some additional filters that they've also added in their communication safety. So that's where I touched on the contacts that people, who can they talk to.
Okay.
With Android devices, it's a little different. All Android devices are different, so it's not quite as well developed in some ways as the Apple controls are. But you can set some basic parental controls in the Google Play Store, and you can also create a family account using Google Family Link, which gives you more control in the same way that the Apple Family organizer type setup does. And you can also, through that, get access to Android Digital Wellbeing, which starts looking more in terms of your screen time and downtimes and that kind of stuff. It's just worth noting, because some people have kind of mixed device environments where they might have an iPhone and a Chromebook, or, the Google Family Link, those products they can't be supervised. So your iPhones, iPads, and any other computers other than Chromebooks can't be supervised by Family Link. So Family Link is really for the Google environment itself, just like the Apple controls are for Apple devices. We then start to get into standalone parental control and tech options. There's a new app that we were lucky enough that the app founders actually came and spoke to us about this new app. It's called Screenable. And it basically allows you to, it's only for iPhones, but it basically allows you to turn an iPhone into a dumb phone.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, so basically you can turn an iPhone into an old phone that only uses calls and messaging. That's the only thing you can do on it. Okay. Their next level up is what they call Screen Trainer, where you start to introduce more apps and teach responsible device use through the app. So that's what the Screenable app is. Their purpose is to try to teach kids how to use their devices responsibly and sensibly and give you the ability to control things so that you can help them with that.
That's great. Screenable.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other big company that you have probably heard of is Bark. They started out as an app and content monitoring solution, and it's still really the only one that actively monitors accounts and warns parents of concerning content. So what you can do with Bark is effectively connect your children's accounts. Say it's an Instagram account, connect their Instagram account to Bark, and it will then monitor their account for you. So it's a good way of, for older kids, making them feel like you trust them enough to get on with it in a day-to-day basis. But if Bark notices comments on posts or DMs that are concerning, perhaps there's some mentions of cyberbullying or self-harm or things like that, it will then alert the parents. So a parent doesn't need to feel like they have to read every single message that their child is sending, because Bark will notify them of things that they should be concerned about. I used it when my kids were younger. I would say that it's useful. It does sometimes, there's a lot of false positives on it, false negatives, where it alerts you on things,
but it's a non-issue.
But it's a non-issue, particularly with email.
Okay.
And subject lines on emails and things. But
you'd rather that.
Exactly, but it's better to err on the side of caution with that. So it's a good system to consider. It's a paid product. They also now have a Bark phone, which is basically it's a smartphone, but it's designed for kids, so it doesn't have access to the same amount of things that you can get on an iPhone or a standard Android phone. They can't access everything. Kind of comes with what you would want kids of a certain age to use. So it's again a safer, potential safer starter phone than going straight to a full smartphone. And in that line of things, there are other options like the Bark phone, like the Gab phone, Pinwheel. There are a few others that have a similar, sort of dumbed down smartphone. So kids have a smartphone experience, but without the same access to the internet and to apps that you get on a standard smartphone. Okay. There's also, this one I think is quite neat, but relatively new, a little device called a brick, which basically does what it says on the tin and it bricks your phone for a set period. So you can set it to maybe you want to focus for an hour on work, and so you don't want any distractions from social media. So you can tap your phone to the brick and it will stop you from having access to those things for a set time period. You can set up different modes for it to operate in. So that's kind of a new way of looking at it. And, you might want to, as a family, use it for dinner time. Everyone bricks their phone, So there's different ways that you could potentially use a device like that. And then there are, we start getting a bit more technical here, and you kind of need to understand your home network a little bit, and there are devices that you can add that work at a Wi-Fi network level, where you can start looking at blacklisting and whitelisting websites and really getting into more detail of what your kids can access on your Wi-Fi network at home. But obviously you need to know a little more to do that. And then there are software solutions that have been around for a long time now, things like Custodio and NetNanny, that do a similar thing that parental controls do in terms of monitoring and controlling screen time and access to apps on your network. So again, you connect accounts to it or connect it into your Wi-Fi network to do that. There are lots and lots of options out there, and even these examples aren't exhaustive. And each option gives you different levels of control. So as I said at the start, there really isn't one answer, and it really does depend on what you're looking for. But we can help you work through those options to find solutions that will work for your devices that you have, the apps that you want to use, and for your family's level of comfort with technology.
Okay, awesome. Wow. I feel like I felt a little tech pain there when you started talking about the Wi-Fi network level, and I was like, I just started
not
hearing.
many people go that far. We do have some stuff on our network that we can monitor the traffic on our network at home because my husband's also in IT.
Okay.
So, but that's definitely a step that most people are not going to go to. But there are so many options that you can do at a device level. That there's something out there for everybody.
There's a lot out there.
Yeah. And I think as much as anything, it's even just understanding what are parental controls and what can I control.
Yes.
And what can't I control? And, kind of coming to terms with that and understanding the bigger picture of kids and teens and how they use technology. Because remember, it's how they communicate.
I know.
So we need to be mindful of that when we're looking at how we control their access to it.
So this is awesome. I have a few follow-up questions. One is, does SDM have a place where we as parents could go and get like a fact sheet, let's say, on some of this, because we obviously are on a podcast and we mentioned a bunch of names.
Yes.
And so unless the listener is kind of sitting there writing down, each of the, screenable app and, all of the options, is there a spot on SDM's website that
there
we could...
will be very shortly.
Okay.
We recently gave a presentation on this topic, so we have the presentation slides, and so they'll be on the website very soon because we have them available now. We are actually just working on a video on this that will be on our YouTube channel sometime early in the new year, I think is programmed for that one to go out. And around that content, also blog content that we're developing on this topic. It keeps changing.
I know.
And that's one of the things to remember is, what's the answer today might not be the answer tomorrow because the apps change, the devices change, the options available to you change.
And your kids get older.
Your kids get
right?
older,
So
exactly.
all of it, it's kind of a rotating,
it's an
dynamic, evolving thing.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. But no, we have content that you will be able to find on our website.
Okay, awesome. And the only other thing I was thinking while you were mentioning the different options is any thoughts on like a tech contract type thing that, like, I don't know, I feel like there's mixed emotions on like a contract because is it something that your family comes up with using some template on the internet, but then like no one actually follows through, right, with what we talked about and agreed to? So I don't know if you have any thoughts on the technology contract idea and
I think that that's the sort of thing that will work well with some families and not with others. And it kind of depends. There you really need follow through from the adults.
Right.
And I think something that's important to consider when you're doing that, and there are templates available online, and if you go to the likes of Common Sense Media and other organizations that are screenagers, there are lots of organizations out there that have really good resources available to parents that are trying to grapple with all of these things. But I think that, you need to model the behavior that you want to see. So if you have a contract where you say no phones at dinner and then you sit with your phone beside you because an important call might come through, then you're not really modeling that behavior. So kids learn by seeing what we're doing. And I think that we could all probably do with using screen time limits more than we do. I personally have screen time limits set on my phone. I have downtime set on my phone to keep me off social media and to stop the scrolling. So I understand how difficult it is for kids, particularly teenagers, to manage that for themselves because we as adults find it difficult. So that's where I think that the family conversations and family's own comfort as all the individuals of that family with technology is a really important piece of the whole discussion about parental controls. So yeah, you have to kind of practice what you preach a little bit with anything like this. So
yep. Well, you're right. There isn't one answer. There's not one solution for, that will fit all, right?
No.
But definitely there are options. And if someone who's listening or a friend of someone who's listening needs SDM's help to kind of think through their specific situation, how can they get in touch with you guys?
Well, you can head over to our website, which is sdmfoundation.org, or email us at info@sdmfoundation.org, or there's actually a contact form on our website that you can use as well, or just give us a call, 781-606-2621. And we're always happy to talk to people on any of these topics and teach you how to set up specific things once you get to that point. We've helped lots of parents over the years to grapple with this and to come to decisions and to choose the products that are right for their family.
And you guys have a great newsletter too, or e-newsletter, because I get it. Yes. And probably through your website, you could sign up for it, I'm guessing?
You can, yes. Okay. Yeah. There's a link at the bottom of our homepage to join our mailing list. And yeah, we send out not too many emails.
No, but, it's not like every week or anything.
No, we send something out every couple of weeks with the odd extra. And it's always on a tech topic of some sort. And yeah, so if you want to sign up for that, you'll be the first to hear about our kids' lessons if you sign up for our mailing list, because they fill up fast in the summer.
Oh yeah, I know, it's popular.
It is very popular.
Oh good. Well, Sarah, thank you. As always, love chatting with you, and thank you for taking the time today to sit with us. And of course, I always thank MMTV because they are the men behind the curtain, men and ladies behind the curtain who bring this all together. So thanks to them too. And until next time, take good care, everybody.